All right, want to pivot now to something a little lighter and brighter. Team USA skiing superstar Mikaela Shiffrin will be leaving the Winter Olympics with a gold medal.
Okay.
The 30-year-old broke her medal drought this morning, taking home gold in the women's slalom. Meanwhile, on the ice, U.S. hopes of medaling in the women's figure skating now appears to rest on Alysa Liu's shoulders. Joining us now is CBS News 24/7 co-anchor of CBS Saturday Morning, Kelly O'Grady. Kelly, great to see you this morning from Milan. Listen, I also grew up figure skating, and I was on the varsity team, so I understand how points work. I was trying to explain this to my husband last night as we were watching, because sometimes you see a program that's clean, but because of the value of those tricks, it actually doesn't get into the top three. So explain to folks, how this works and why that worked last night.
Well, basically, I think let's stick with the American women, right? Alysa Liu, she did really well on all of her elements. It's the short program. There are 3 jumping passes, so it is absolutely critical to hit them all. In figure skating, as it sounds like Chanel, we have a saying, you can't win it in the short, but you can lose it. And that is where, when you look at Isabella Vito and Amber Glenn, the other 2 of the Blade Angels, you had Isabella Vito to the naked eye, skated flawlessly, but on one of her jumps, she rotated part of that rotation on the ice versus doing it all in the air. And so she lost points, to your point, on that. And then Amber Glenn, in fact, got no points for her final element. She did an incredible triple axel, the best that I have seen her do. And then on an easier jump, a triple loop, just opened up early, only did 2 revolutions instead of the required 3. And so she ended up with no points. And so, you sort of think about it, it's nerves, right? This is the first time Amber Glenn has ever been to an Olympics, and it showed a little bit. It was heartbreaking to watch her walk off the ice. She said, I had it. And I had turned to my producer, Elizabeth Campbell, and I said, I think she's going to go into first. And then that mistake happened. So, of course, there's a long program tomorrow. It's about a matter of points, not placement right now. But it was tough to see, certainly.
So, and at one point, right, so part of that, did I understand correctly, Kelly and Chanel, that she lost 7 points for not completing, or at some point in the scoring, she got dinged 7 points, which really brought her down to like 12th place?
Yeah, so she's in 13th right now. The base value, every element in figure skating has an allotted point value. So the triple loop, I think it's about 5.5 points. And traditionally, she gets a bonus of about anywhere from 1.5 to 2 points. So that's where you would have gotten that 7 points that she just didn't accrue. But by the way, Vlad, you and I were texting about this, right? She sort of seemed a little bit flat after that, everything that was going through her mind. Then she lost points on expression, artistry, execution of some of those spins. So it was more on top of that 7, whereas the Japanese and Alysa Liu, had really, really strong, complete skates.
Okay, but you kept it real in our text exchange, Kelly, because I said to you, as you guys are former skaters, I was like, the Japanese team was fire. They were elegant, they were artistic, and they nailed a lot of their technical, to my eyes, techniques. But then you poured a little cold water on that. You're like, I mean, yes, to you, Vlad, they looked amazing, and they are amazing. But what did you see that I did?
So technically, they were very, very good. There were a couple of, calls that we sort of call them a warning in figure skating, but they didn't get any points taken away. Where I had an issue was the artistic expression. I thought Monet Chiba, Ami Nakai, they were good, but you could have switched out the music. I like to see someone really feeling what is happening in that arena. And then Kaori Sakamoto, beautiful movement across the ice. She's very fast, but she didn't really give it her all until all of the jumps were done. So that's where I like to see it as a full performance.
And sometimes I think that comes with maturity, right, Kelly? You see some of the older skaters who've been to the Olympics before, and you can just see that they're there to perform in a sense. It's not just to carry out the jumps and the tricks.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm cheering everybody because I know that these are all elite
so bipartisan
athletes.
of you.
No, I know. They're all elite athletes, and it's degrees that we can't, ordinary mortals can't understand. So I'm cheering everybody. Go Team USA. But I love the Japanese team.
It's not over till it's over for Team USA.
All right, Kelly. Thank you, my friend.